Hey guys, MrRhysReviews here. Today with the topic of Burnout Crash. Okay, so if you heard anything about this new Burnout game, so far it is sounding pretty fucking awful. I mean, I can pretty much tell straight away that it's not going to be by Criterion Games, number one. Okay, so if you don't know what it is yet, Burnout Crash was leaked by the ESRB and us, the Australian Ratings Board, and apparently the game is like top-down perspective. It's all about crash junctions, and you're doing the crash mode. Basically, the whole game's just crash mode from Burnout 3 Revenge, all that wasn't put into Paradise. And I'm on the fence with Paradise with a lot of other people. Like, I enjoy it and stuff, it's still good, but it's not what we wanted for a next gen Burnout game. We wanted Burnout 5, the one that they showed on a little pamphlet. Just give me a sec. Okay, sorry guys. Just had to get the thing. Okay, so Burnout Paradise came out. But what we were expecting and what we were waiting for, when you would buy Burnout Dominator for the PSP, which I did on disc like way back in the day, I think it was in like 2006 or something, this little pamphlet came with it. Pre-order Burnout 5 for PlayStation 3 system and get an exclusive car, Burnout 5. That's what it looks like right there, just as Burnout 5. Now if you take a look on the background, it looks kind of similar to Paradise. It was still based in Paradise City, as it says right down there on the bottom. It's like a car license. It says Paradise City. So it would have been still based in Paradise City, but there are images here. And it still says on the back, roam, race, and rig up the rulebook. Rip up the rulebook. So it was still based in Paradise, but it had a distinctly darker theme, similar to Burnout Revenge. If you remember, like Burnout 3 was all sort of sunny and like happy times and shit, and over the top crashing. Burnout Revenge was sort of more realistic, fast-paced crashing. Like the crash camera would be faster than in Burnout 3, like I wouldn't really emphasize on it. It would happen, but you'd be like, like Burnout Revenge, you're playing, slam someone into a wall, it'll just quickly go side by side, they'll just flip over, and then it'll just continue. You'll barely see them crash, which is okay. But yeah, it was more fast paced, and it was more kind of the dark city underground of cities and stuff, with this sort of extreme racing sport. That's what we all loved about Revenge, I think. Okay, but yeah, so as they showed in some promotional imaging for Burnout 5, as you can see with the car on the front, see how it's ripped in half? That could happen. We were expecting that. Also, look at the images on the back, like I was saying. So up the top, we have a pretty crumpled car there. See that? Like, that's not the degree of detail in Paradise, but whatever. The second image you can see looks like Paradise City, like under the L train tracks or something. It looks kind of like downtown in Burnout 3, like in terms of being an L track, and it still does in Burnout Paradise. It kind of looks like Burnout 3, kind of the highway over above with the pillars coming down. And then the bottom image, that car, even in the bottom, the third image, even looks like a Burnout Revenge car, because they were very sort of sporty and more like Lamborghinis and Ferraris in Burnout Revenge. So yeah, and as you can see, like I said, the game has sort of a more darker sort of underground feeling, as opposed to a sort of daytime happy shit, which is what Paradise was kind of like Burnout 3 in that respect. So that was the game we were expecting, but instead we got Paradise. It's okay, it's not great, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so back on the topic, Burnout Crash. this shit sounds ridiculous. I mean, first of all, you've got the crash junctions. That's cool. Okay, crash junctions were fine. They were pretty cool. They were fun. They did get pretty piss annoying when you wouldn't get gold, and and because I like to get gold and everything, or top rank and everything, and some of them would get ridiculously hard, and it's more of a puzzle as opposed to just fun, which is what Showtime is. It's just bullshitting around and having fun, which is why I kind of prefer Showtime over Crash. But yeah, so Burnout Crash has the crash mode, which is perfectly fine. That's all good. But that's all the game has. Okay, number one, I mean, I'm as much against race mode in Burnout as anyone. That shit sucks balls. Okay, but two, Marked Man. Marked Man was okay. That was new to Paradise. That was a cool feature. That was a cool game mode. They should have that. They should bring it back. They're not. It's just crash junctions. 3, Road Rage. Not in it. Like I said, just crash junctions. No freaking Road Rage. Road Rage is like the best thing in Burnout. It's the best mode you can play. It's just driving around a track, normally without a time limit. Burnout 3 and Burnout Legends for the win. And yeah, it's just driving around a track or an open world without a time limit, or with a time limit for everything besides Burnout 3 and Legends. Just driving around on tracks, taking down people for as long as you want until you've damaged, critical, and crashed, or run out of time if it's a time limit one, which is like Revenge, Paradise, Dominator, everything else besides 3 and Legends. Yeah. Okay, what they also said in Crash, which is really shit. Okay, so now we'll get onto the bad side, because I said crash mode's fine. It is. Crash mode is seriously cool. But, really? Okay, they said cartoony vehicles. You'll be driving cartoony vehicles around the map, crashing into intersections, crashing into cop cars. That's awesome. Crashing into pedestrian vehicles, making pile-ups, crashing into buildings as well, all that kind of shit. But it's from a top-down perspective, like the original Grand Theft Autos, or probably more like Chinatown walls, like top-down, but kind of at an angle. It's okay. It's not great. I mean, I hate top-down views. It's pretty shit. It would give you more of a perspective on the destruction, but it still probably doesn't really tickle my fancy. I don't want a friggin' top-down viewed game. Like, the fuck? It's stupid. Burnout is a friggin' normal racing game with all the destruction and shit. That is how we like it. That's how we friggin' know Burnout. New features in the game include, okay, so besides crashing into cars, making pile-ups, crashing into cop cars, they've added in, and I dread and I hate to say it, UFOs scanning across the friggin' map, giant lobster monsters, and tornadoes. That could be okay, but just what the fuck. And probably other shit that is totally bullshit. I don't even know where to begin with that. I mean, number one, UFOs. Burnout is fucking unrealistic as shit, but it's not that bullshit. Lobster monsters? What the fuck are you thinking? You're retarded. Like, why the fuck would you put giant lobsters into a racing game, or into Burnout even? I mean, it's unrealistic, but it's not that style of unrealistic. That's what I'm saying. It's not shit. It's good. It's not shit, which is what this is. Burnout Crash is going to be a fucking piece of shit because of all this crap that whoever's making it has put into the game. It's only on PS3 and Xbox 360. We're guessing it's going to be an arcade and a network game. Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Network. Might be retail. I doubt it. I reckon it will be a downloadable game. It sounds like it. It sounds like total bullshit that no one would buy in retail, and that it would sell on the network for an overpriced $15-20, when it should be about 5 or 10. That's Australian currency, so $20 or $15, which is what it normally is on the PlayStation Network. Here might actually be $10 in the US, but for us, I'm not going to pay friggin' $15 for that shit. I mean, I want a new Burnout game. That's what we all want. We want a new Burnout game that brings back friggin' Burnout 3, Burnout Revenge, back to the roots of those two games. Because because they are technically the routes that people talk about. Because obviously, if you're saying back to the total original routes, you'd be talking Burnout 1, Burnout 2, which were they had the Burnout chain from Burnout Dominator, or the whatchamacallit, the speed class in Burnout Paradise. That was the only boost bar in Burnout 1 and 2. So that would be, in taking back to the actual routes, that would be the only boost bar. You'd have to charge it and then use it all at once. It would have really shit crashing, more realistic crashing, and the sort of over the top crashes is what makes it what it is. And my point is, if you went back to the full routes, it would be shit. So we're talking about Burnout 3, Burnout Revenge routes, which is perfectly fine. I mean, those games were great. Okay, but exactly, we don't want Burnout Crash. Burnout Crash sounds utterly bullshit. I mean, why the fuck would you make it? I mean, this is what we want. Burnout, 6 now, just see, put a little bit more of a line where it sort of, where there's the gap there, put a bit more of a line, make it a 6, Burnout 6, exactly like that, with that visual style. That is what we want Criterion Games. Make this shit happen. It's not hard. You've made Paradise. Use the same graphics engine. Make it Burnout Revenge, Motor City kind of style. You know, this sort of dark, undergroundy feel. Sort of a seedy underbelly of the city with this illicit street racing, making people crash into shit. That is exactly what Burnout is, basically. Not so much what I'm saying, but you get my idea. That's what we want. That's how it should be, not Burnout Crash. So let's talk about developer for Burnout Crash. Now, obviously, Criterion Games will not be making it. That's my personal opinion. But Criterion will not be behind Burnout Crash. That did happen. You know, they didn't make Burnout Legends or Burnout Dominator for the PSP. And Burnout Dominator was even on the PlayStation 2 as well. So it was a full console release. Even though Dominator has Criterion Games in the startup and on the actual case, they didn't make the game. EA Games themselves, just an EA Games studio, made Burnout Legends and Burnout Dominator. So Burnout Crash, do you see what I'm getting at? Maybe it's EA Games again doing their own game with an internal studio, and then just, if Criterion happens to be in the credits of it, that just means that they put their name on it so people will buy it. Doesn't mean that they made it. Proof with Dominator, although Dominator was actually good. What else? Besides that, I personally reckon that EA will always publish the Burnout series from now on. But my personal opinion is that maybe they've outsourced it to a new company for Burnout Crash. You know, maybe a new development studio is making Burnout Crash. Who the fuck knows? All I know is that they've fucked this game up the arse with a friggin' dildo. They fucked that shit up. And I know I'm swearing a lot and I'm putting some really fucked up shit in there, but, you know, it's true. They screwed this shit to hell. They shouldn't have done it. They shouldn't even made a new Burnout without Criterion making like a Burnout 6, which had all that. I don't know what else to say. I mean, Burnout Crash is just gonna be shit. And also, you know, proof that it's also going family friendly ish. You know, all Burnouts have had like an M rating. I would actually personally say that all Burnout should actually be more of an MA rating. But obviously then it's not. But, you know, it's M for what, like moderate violence or something, or just violence, like for car crashes and all that shit. But I mean, it has signs of, you know, explicit car crashes, reckless driving, reckless endangerment, street racing, all this shit. It should be an MA rated game. The whole series should be rated MA, which you may think that I'm just kind of saying that they should bump the rating up and then, you know, and then becoming harder for people to get their hands on. But no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's a mature game. It's an adult game. You know, it's a racing game that has all the adult qualities that, you know, adults, teenagers that are over 15, obviously, that we like. But Burnout Crash is being rated 10 plus in the United States. It's PG here. That's what the ESRB in Australia has given the game. It's a PG rating for mild violence. What? Like, seriously, that's not even. I mean, it still is destructive as all the other burnouts. I mean, there's small explosions because you're really far up because it's going to be bird's eye view. There's still explosions. The crashes will be detailed. They won't be over the top like Burnout 3, Revenge, Paradise, Legends, Domino, all that shit, which sucks. Because I'd like to have it exactly like all the other burnouts in terms of destruction. Yeah, it's basically it. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't have much else to say about it. All I know is that shit is gonna be fucking crap. So, what's your personal opinion on Burnout Crash? Do you think it's gonna be shit? Are you still gonna pick it up? I mean, I'm still gonna pick it up. Okay, so I'm saying that. So leave comments below. Are you gonna pick the game up? Are you excited for it? Do you think it's a good idea that they moved in that direction? Do you think it's a bad idea, which it is, or do you think it's a good idea? Whoever the hell says that is a fucking retard. But yeah, so yeah, leave your opinions in the comments, and basically, okay. So yeah, just leave your comments and shit. It's MrRhysReviews. See you in the next video.